This is my cold-proof, quick and easy pizza dough recipe. It's really simple to make, and what I love about it is you can make it ahead of time, 24 to 72 hours, and it produces a really incredible pizza dough. So I'm going to guide you through it today. The camera's top down so you can follow each process and you can see how I'm making it in real time. So here I've got everything weighed out. I've got my water at room temp, my flour weighed out, and also instant yeast. Now I'm going to add that to the water and just give it a good mix. And all I'm doing here is just dissolving the yeast, giving it a little bit of a head start and just making sure that it's in the water ready before I add it to the flour. So next up, all I'm going to do is just pour the water over the flour. I'm not focused really on pouring it in a certain place or creating a well or anything. I'm just covering it. The recipe here is 12 grams of olive oil and I'm just going to add that in. Now all I'm going to do is get my spatula and just mix it. I'm not focused on hydrating the flour completely. I'm just going to mix it just so it's very rough so I can then get it out onto the worktop and start to knead. I absolutely love this process. It's just super fun, and for me this is a pizza dough that I always go to. I have it in my fridge. It's just so easy and I'm excited about sharing this recipe with you. So next up, I'm just going to tip this out onto the worktop. Once it's all combined, you can see it's very, very rough. I'm going to start the kneading process. Now with kneading, I like to pretend that both of my arms are kind of part of a robot. I'm pushing down with my right, and then with my left, I'm just kind of keeping it in place and just bringing it over and folding it over itself. So as you can see, I can speed up a little bit here. My right arm is doing most of the work. The left arm is just guiding everything into the center of the work surface. So what you'll find is everyone has a different kneading pattern. If you're new to kneading, you might want to use a stand mixer. But for me, I love the process because I kind of feel at one with the dough, but also it gives me a little bit of a workout, I'd say. But for me, it's just part of the process to really feel the flour. This hydration here is a 65% hydration, which means that's the percentage of water to the flour. But what this allows me to do, if I'm changing my flour up a little bit, if I'm using a flour maybe I haven't used before, I can really feel the dough. I can feel how wet it is, how well it holds, and it just gives me a really good idea of if I need to add any more water, just to maybe loosen it up a little bit. So you should knead really for about 5 to 10 minutes. I usually have a look at the timer. I'll go for 5 minutes and just knead quite hard until I feel that the dough is building strength and it looks smooth to touch. You can see here all I'm doing is just pushing again with my right hand, and now the dough looks like it's coming together a bit more. It's not kind of trying to spread out over the worktop. It's kind of holding its shape and it looks more like a ball. So what we're doing here is just activating the gluten, just trying to build as much strength in this dough as possible. And again, by kneading, everyone will have a different way of doing it and they'll prefer maybe a different way. I really lean into the worktop, try and put as much weight behind it as possible. But this for me is just a surefire way to create a good strong dough. So now I'm going to let it rest for about 15 minutes, and all I'm going to do is just ball it up. So you can see here I'm just pulling it tight on the surface, and that's just creating a ball. I'm not fussed by making this look glamorous. It's just kind of get it into a ball shape. I'm going to cover it with a bowl and leave it for 15 to 20 minutes. After this time, we're going to introduce the salt. Now the salt is a great way, obviously it adds flavour, but it's a really good way to build strength. Salt plays a really good role in tightening the gluten structure, which adds, like I said, more strength to the dough. And that's what you want, because when this dough is proving slowly in the fridge, it'll be releasing carbon dioxide. The stronger the dough, the more of the gas that it'll trap. And also then when you cook the dough, it gives you a really light, fluffy crust. Now, once I've kneaded this for about 5 minutes, I'm just going to ball it up again on the worktop. Now, I'm not trying to win any awards for making this look good. It's just a quick and easy dough. Quite often I'm making this late at night ahead of a weekend just because I know that I want to cook pizza and the weather's good. So I'm just going to ball it up and then we're going to put it in its container ready for the fridge. Now this bit, again, is super simple. I'm just going to lightly oil the container with a little bit of olive oil, not too much. And then I'm just going to cover the bottom just so it doesn't stick when I'm getting it out. And then I'll place the pizza dough ball into the container and then we'll cover it up and that goes in the fridge. Now this can go in the fridge, like I said, for 24 to 72 hours. My ideal is 48 hours, bang in the middle. It just gives it enough time to develop really well. And like I said, it's super easy. That's it. You don't need to do anything else until you make your pizza. So it's pizza day. So all we're going to do now is divide this up into 4 pizza dough balls. So I'll get it out on the surface and I'll use my knife, and then I'll get my dough scraper and I'll just really roughly split it into 4 dough balls. Now I'm going to use the dough scraper to just round them off into really nice tight pizza dough balls. So all I'm doing is just getting it and I'm just kind of pushing it in a circular motion along the worktop, and then it'll create a really nice tight dough ball. And then this allows it to stretch really easy if it's perfectly round. So once you've done that, place it either into a baking tray, container. I've got a dough proving tray here, and I'll cover it and I'll leave it for 2 to 4 hours. And what that does is it just allows the dough ball to relax ever so slightly, but it allows it to come up to room temperature, and that'll make it really easy to stretch. So when I'm making pizza, all I'll do is I'll just cover each dough ball that I'm going to use in a little bit of semolina and flour mix, and then I'll lift it out with the dough scraper and just put it onto my worktop. Here I can either make sure it's round again just by pushing it together, and then I'll push from the middle out. I'm trying to create a really nice crust here, so I'll make sure I don't push down on the edges. I'm always pushing out from the middle. Now, you can be as quick or as slow as you want with this. Personally, here I'm taking my time because I want this to look really good, and I'm just gently, like I said, just pushing out from the middle to the edge of the pizza dough. Next, I'm just going to lift it up with the back of my hands and just really slowly allow gravity to do the work. The pizza dough is just going to fall, and I'm just going to keep moving my hands around and around, and what that will do is it will stretch the pizza dough out from the middle, but it'll do it really, really gently. So I'm protecting the crust that I've worked hard to get, and I'm gently allowing this pizza dough to just stretch out to make a really nice pizza. So pizza-wise, I'm going to keep this one classic. I'm going to make a Margherita pizza, and the advice I give is just keep your toppings really light. Don't overload it with stuff, because what will happen is it'll be too heavy, be hard to pick up with your peel. It'll be really hard to cook. It'll take longer to cook in the oven. So for me, less is more. So I've got a really thin layer of tomatoes. I've got my fior di latte cheese, some basil leaves, and some parmesan. The Margherita is probably one of my favourite pizzas actually, and it's always the first pizza I'll make if I'm doing a pizza party or cooking for family and friends or lots of people. For me, it's that gauge of how the oven's doing, how the dough is, and what I'll tend to do is cook this one first, save a slice for me so I can eat, and then I can focus on making pizza for everyone else. So there you go, that's it. This pizza dough looks great. I'm going to now fire it in my Ooni Carry 16. It's fired up to 400 degrees Celsius, and I'm just going to slide it in there and let it cook. It's 90 seconds and it just cooks up really, really nicely. There's some nice leoparding on there, which I absolutely love. And this dough, like I said, it's kind of my go-to dough. It's my quick and easy foolproof dough. And there you go, after 90 seconds, look at that. It's cooked up to perfection. And this is what I love about pizza. That is something that tastes incredible and it's homemade. You know there's no nasty preservatives in there from a frozen pizza. And honestly, it tastes incredible. So I hope following this pizza dough recipe helps, and I hope you can make your own pizza at home. For the full recipe, check it out on my website, and if you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you could subscribe. I'm hoping to make more of these moving forward, full dough breakdowns, and I can explain my process and how I make pizza at home. Thanks very much.